Hey, Chris, welcome to town.
What's going on?
Oh, man, glad to have you here. I'm ready to get the season started. Hey, first question, actually, I was looking through some of your old box scores here, and I remember a game you played here back in 2008. I think you're about the same age as Devin Booker is now.
42.
What's that?
I had 42.
Yeah. The double overtime game. And Paige hit
the game-winning shot.
Yeah, and it looked like, y'all were kind of dogpiling each other on the floor here. I was actually kind of curious, your road to get here, what you kind of wished you would have known then, or what kind of helped you keep your, NBA career going this long. What's what you would have told yourself back then? And then you were about Devin Booker's age back then. What do you kind of hope to impart to him, at that age?
I don't know. I guess I don't think about it that in depth. I mean, obviously, I remember those games. That was actually Shaq had got traded the night before. And I think that was Shaq's first game. I remember them introducing him at the game. Shaq stood up and was touching his finger, doing all this stuff, and it was an exciting game. And I don't know. I think it's one of those situations where everyone always talks about what I can teach Book or what I can teach some of these other guys, but they're teaching me at the same time too. I'm not James Naismith by no means, but it's fun for me because first things first too. I'm not just coming in here trying to teach everybody. I'm his teammate. You know what I mean? We here to hoop, we here to compete, and I think that's the way I approach this.
All right, next up we have Craig Fouie with Channel 15. He'll be followed by David Aldridge.
Chris, welcome to the Valley. Hey, why Phoenix? Why the Suns? Why was this the destination that where you wanted to be?
I think it's a great, really good team. I think everybody always say young team or whatnot and all that, but when you're a fan of the game, you see different pieces. I've known Book for a long time, and he's not only talented, he's a dog. You know what I mean? He's really competitive. I know Book, no Book, and when we hoop and play against each other, we be about to fight. And they'll be about to fight a lot of times. And looking at the staff, Monty is an unbelievable person. You know what I mean? Human being. Aside from being a great coach. It was a lot of things here. Willie Green, who is going to be my assistant coach, but has been like a brother to me, over my career. James Jones, all the different pieces, DeAndre Ayton. And then it got even better once we got Crowder, Etwan Moore, and all these different guys. So I'm really excited.
All right, next up we have David Aldridge with The Athletic. He'll be followed by Dwayne Rankin.
What's up, Chris?
What's going on, DA?
Man, hanging in there. Hey, you all had incredible momentum this summer in the bubble in Orlando with the social justice front. You had kind of a total buy-in with the league, with the Black Lives Matter on the court and everything, and that was really front of mind. How do you think you keep the momentum going now that everybody's going to be kind of scattered about, in their own home cities and their own hometowns, to kind of keep that national discussion going?
That's a great question, DA, and those are conversations that we are going to continue to have and start having more. I think everyone's been really concerned. Also, as of late, as far as COVID, and everything that's going on, and sort of letting guys get acclimated to what life sort of looks like going forward. But, we started the Social Justice Coalition, and we're going to keep working on that and, open to ideas. We're having a player call where guys can express different ideas that they have, so it doesn't stop just because the bubble's over. Different things may happen, right? You may adjust, you may find other ways to bring attention to it, but it doesn't go away.
All right, next up we have Dwayne Rankin with the Arizona Republic. He'll be followed by Kellen Olsen.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it. Chris, just a couple things just real quick. First, I talked with Blake Griffin about you, and there's this deal in terms of you being looked at on the one end as demanding, but you slice that in half, is highly competitive. He said when he played with you, he was all about just soaking everything you were giving him. So when you look at that dynamic of being seen as demanding on the one end, but obviously that's part of being highly competitive on the other, how do you view how you have built relationships or how you go about building relationships with players? Because obviously you're with a new group here.
Yeah, it's balance, right? And it's an unbelievable conversation that me and Monty even had, you know, once I got here, and you talk about how you grow as a person, as a player. And when you're a point guard, I always say, I've always been somewhat vertically challenged, so I ain't never played any other position, right? So what you do is you learn over the years is sort of who you can get on, who you sort of got to be a little easier with. But one thing about my approach, and I'm not saying that it's always right and it's not for everybody, but I never ask you to do something that I wouldn't do myself, right? So that's the thing. I had a coach when I was in Houston. He used to tell me that the biggest thing that I have to battle with is sometimes having guys who don't care as much as I do, you know. But I guarantee you, whatever you see is coming from a good place. And yeah, I'm not perfect by no means, but I'm always just trying to push the next guy, and I'm hoping he pushes me the same way.
Right, next up, we have Kellen Olsen with Arizona Sports. He'll be followed by Sierra Santos.
Hey, Chris, welcome to the Valley. I was wondering if you could tell us a bit about your just getting to know Devin the last couple of years and your conversations with him the last couple of weeks, getting to know him more now as a teammate.
Oh, man, the last couple years. Me and Devin are with CAA. We both with the same agency. So actually, when I lost in the playoffs, when I played for the Clippers, Devin was out in LA getting ready for the draft. And so we had lost in the playoffs, but I used to still want to hoop and want to train. So I went down and worked out with him. When he was getting ready for the draft. He was like 15 because he's so young. He's so young. But I remember after working out, you know, I was telling Leon Rose, who's the general manager, I was like, damn, he good. He nice, he can play. And so over the years, you know, I got a chance to, you know, watch and know him, Karl Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell, and just, you know, be fans of theirs from afar. So this opportunity is crazy because you never expect things like this to happen.
Right, next up, we have Sierra Santos with Fox 10. She'll be followed by Jonathan Scott.
Hi, Chris. As somebody who's coming in from an outsider and coming into the group, what's it going to take for this team to get to the playoffs and become a championship team?
I mean, it sort of goes unsaid. It's going to take, you know, just like the workman approach. And if you saw this team play in the bubble and how hard these guys played and how they played together, if you play in the league, you pay attention to little things. So even after they finished their last game, if you saw the talk that Monty gave the team, you know, and you saw those guys and you saw that camaraderie. So I think with the new bodies, new faces that we have, we're going to have to get a chance to know each other. You know, with COVID, it's a little different as far as, you know, all of us just doing individual workouts, but it'll be a day-by-day building. It's not going to be easy, and just enjoy the process.
Next up, we have Jonathan Scott with TNT. He'll be followed by David Brandt.
Hey, Chris. The pandemic has changed the way we all watch sports. So what is it about the game that keeps you engaged and motivated as a player during these unprecedented times? And what about the game draws in fans and keeps them watching?
Oh, man. What keeps me going is this is fun. You know, like, this is a whole lot of fun, and to get a chance to say that this is my way of life, like, this is supposed to be work, right? Like, I was on the table this morning, and today's our first day in the gym, and I could just hear the ball bouncing. And the trainer that I was working with, Adam, I was like, man, this feels good. You know, just to be around the game, to be around the guys that I know that have played in the league and have retired. You know, a lot of them say the biggest thing that they miss is they miss the locker room. They miss the camaraderie and being around guys. So it's a competitiveness, and with everything going on in the world, this is somewhat of our escape, you know. And for a lot of families, when they get a chance to watch the game and see the competition, I think it's a nice piece of time for them too. So I'm just excited to be back out here playing.
All right, next up is David Brandt with the Associated Press. He'll be followed by Brendan Klain.
Hey, Chris, thanks for doing this. You touched on a couple things about the COVID protocols and everything, and I know obviously you're big in the union. Are you worried that the league can pull this off? I mean, you know, obviously it seems like there's bad news every day and teams crisscrossing the country. Are you comfortable with the protocols, and what do you think is going to happen the next couple months?
Man, David, if I knew, I'd tell you. I'm sure everybody on here would feel a lot better if we knew the answer to that. But what I do know is everybody involved, the league, the union, the players, everybody with the teams, everybody is working daily to try to figure things out. You know, once again, this is uncharted territory. You know, when we played in the bubble, it was something nobody had ever seen, and everyone worked as hard as they could to make that work. Once again, what we're doing now with all these protocols, the different tests and stuff, is never seen it before. So I have more answers for you the next day, every day.
Right, next up is Brendan Klain with Bright Side of the Sun. He'll be followed by Christos Saltos.
Hey, Chris. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving and you're getting acclimated here. I'm curious. I liked kind of the way you put it early on in this when you said people call like a young team just a young team, but you don't necessarily think of it that way. I'm curious, what lessons did you learn from the Thunder situation last year in going through that you hope to apply this year, or just that kind of changed your perception of being around a young team like that?
I think the biggest thing I learned last year is that you can write your own story. I think that was the big thing that our team did. We didn't care, no offense to any of y'all, we didn't care about none of y'all predictions, what y'all expectations are. Y'all aren't in the locker room with us. You know, we the ones that's got to do the work. You know, so as long as we're very honest with each other on a daily basis of what we expect from each other, that's all that matters. And, you know, people always say it's a young team, it's a young team. Sometimes it's nice to have a young team because they don't know nothing else but to hoop and to play hard. You know, they're not thinking about what can happen here or what can happen there. And we're gonna roll.
All right, next up we have Christos Saltos with Sport DNA in Greece. He'll be followed by Greg Moore.
Hello, Chris. Thanks for doing this. I would like to ask you, how big is the motivation for you to play in Phoenix Suns about next season? And how was the workouts with Devin Booker in this offseason?
What was the first part?
How big is the motivation for you to play with the Suns, to go to the playoffs?
Man, one thing about me is I expect a lot of myself. You know, my college coach used to say basketball is a team game played by individuals. So I'm excited to be here. I'm always motivated. I'm self-motivated. I'm crazy competitive, sometimes to a fault, depending on who you're talking to. And how was the workout with Book? It was cool. He made a few shots. I mean, I always say this over my career, you know, it's a few things that, you know, is sort of going to draw you to a person depending on what you have in common. You know what I mean? Like, I love basketball. Like, I love to be in the gym, love to hoop. I'm a gym rat. And so, you know, Book is like that. You know what I mean? James Harden was like that. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, he like that. You know what I mean? Our team was like that, OKC. And first day here, looks like everybody's like that too. So when you got guys like that, it's easy to get along.
All right, next up we have Greg Moore with the Arizona Republic. He'll be followed by Mark J. Spears.
Chris, good to meet you. Greg Moore, Arizona Republic sports columnist.
Yes, sir.
And around the Suns, I think this is my fourth season around the team. I've been in the Valley since 2011, minus 1 year in Milwaukee. Look forward to shaking your hand in person.
Fist bump, brother. Fist bump.
No doubt, dude, for sure. So listen, man, I've been watching this team grow, right? Like, I've been watching it evolve. I've been watching what James is bringing in. And the thing that really strikes me is like the supporting cast, the so-called supporting cast. You got shooters, you got guys with chips on your shoulders, they got defensive players. What do you see when you look at the guys whose names aren't on the marquee but are going to be absolutely essential to you guys achieving any of your goals this year?
You trying to tell all our secrets right here, huh? Sound like it. I think for us, man, I say this all the time. We just gonna have a workman's approach. We're gonna keep our head down. We're gonna do our work. That's the thing. It's about building. The 1 year I played for Monty in New Orleans, it was one of the most special years that I ever remember. I think we went defeated in the preseason. I think we lost every preseason game and then started out the season like 11-1. Because mine is all about principles. You know what I mean? And building. So, like I said, we got a bunch of new guys: Langston Galloway, Twan Moore, all us different guys. The young guy, like, we don't have. That's what they always say. You can put out the predictions, but that's why we play the games. We got to build. We got a lot of work to do in a little bit of time.
All right, next up, we have Mark J. Spears with the Undefeated. He'll be followed by Kirsten Suso.
Yeah, fist bump to you too, Chris. Hope all's well, man.
You too, Mark.
Hey, what advice would you give to the guys that weren't in the bubble that playing next season from those 8 teams on how to use their social justice platform the way you guys did? And in terms of like the Black Lives Matter on the court and the social justice jerseys, are those all gone? Or is there anything we should expect next season?
I'm honestly not sure yet, Mark. Like I said, a lot of guys been scrambling, trying to get here and get there. We're going to start communicating with, all player calls, hear ideas from guys on their team, guys that know where they were going to be. So, I think we'll probably have some of those answers for you coming soon once we figure out, what it's going to look like playing. But what I would tell for a lot of the guys that weren't in the bubble is, aside from everything else, is sort of the patience that you got to have with this, with the testing and the protocols and all that. You used to just going to the gym whenever you want to, and just moving around, going here. So everything is going to be a little bit different.
All right, next up, we have Kirsten Suso with 12 News. She'll be followed by Saul Bookman.
Hey, Chris, a lot has been said about the culture change since within the organization since Monty took over. Wondering if you've gotten a taste of what the culture is here in Phoenix, and then if you could talk a little bit more about what makes Monty a guy that guys want to play for.
I mean, like I said, this is my first day at the gym, but I watch and I played against Phoenix this past year, and I know Mont because I played for him. Randy Ayers was an assistant coach of mine. Like I said, Willie was a teammate of mine. Coach Bryant was in OKC, so I've seen a lot of these coaches or know them. But like Mont works, you know what I mean? So he does the work. That was 2011 when I played for him. He was the coach that he gets out there on the court with you too. Like if you playing, like he'll bump you and hit you and tell you this different type of stuff to make you compete. So like I said, it's one of those things where obviously it's been 9-10 years since we've been together, but I think we both have grown and learned a lot since then.
All right, we got time for 3 more questions. We're going to go here with Saul Bookman with Fox Sports Arizona, followed by Dwayne Rankin.
Welcome to Valley, Chris. Thanks for taking the time to do this. Real quick, I know you've played with a lot of talented big men in your career. DA's obviously another big man in Young. What have you learned in your experiences with those other big men, especially at a young age? And what do you hope to impart onto DA as you guys continue to develop together?
I think that's a very important relationship. right, with the big man, especially the pick and roll and things like that. I don't know. I got a chance to see him working out a little bit today. I'm excited to get out there on the court to find out, where he likes the ball. It started my rookie year. It was PJ Brown. PJ Brown was my big, so it wasn't no lobs then. Then came into my second year. That's when I got Tyson Chandler, and we started doing all those lobs and all that stuff. And then I got with DeAndre Jordan, and I remember that like it was yesterday because DJ couldn't walk and chew gum at the same time back then. I can say that though, because that's like my brother. It's one of my closest friends. But it was a process. Like I remember staying after practice with DJ, and we was like practicing those lobs where he act like he coming to set a screen, and then he just take off to the rim. And same thing, Clint Capella. You start doing that, try to figure out with Steven Adams. So I'm excited to do that with DA and young fella Sticks.
All right, Chris, final two questions will come from Dwayne Rankin with the Arizona Republic and then Paul Richardson.
Yes, Chris, when you look at just, you talked about playing against the Suns last year and seeing that core group with Booker and Ayton and all and those guys. But I was going to ask you about Bridges and Cam Johnson. When you see guys young with that length, what kind of dynamic do you see playing with those two that's going to help this team?
Man, Mikal, I remember even watching him in college and then watching him in the NBA, and he guarded me. He guarded me most of the time when we played against Phoenix. And he can shoot the life out of it, athletic, to have guys that's going to run the wing that you can kick it ahead to and make a play and dunk. Excuse me. And Cam, I watched Cam when he was at Carolina. He played with Kobe White, one of my really good friends. And to see his growth, though, from the season to the bubble, I think that was a lot of players. Like Darius Baisley that played with me in Oklahoma. He was a totally different player in the bubble than he was. And so I think that confidence that a lot of those guys came off of is going to be huge. Like even like Dario, like I done played against him for years and how tough he is, so it's a really good group, Greg, like you were saying. And so we just gonna sort of keep our head down, do our thing over here.
Hey, Chris, final question is going to come from Paul Richardson with the Sports Cave.
Hey, Chris, thanks for taking the time. Good to meet you. You're coming to a team with a track record of success. And so part A, how do you think the guys are going to lean upon you for your past experience and your history of being successful? And then two, ask Monty this as well. You're known for mental toughness. Jay is coming in with mental toughness. And this team just seems to have now a personality that's a tough team. What do you think about those two things?
I'm like what I know, for the guys on the team, like for them, we on the team, like I'm an open book. Whatever they want to know, I'm gonna tell them any day of the week, whether it be training, whether it be eating, or how to approach this or that, or whatever. I'll tell them what I know. But the thing that you learn is that you don't know everything. I'm always learning day in and day out. And that's why it's fun to get on the court and work out and train with guys. When I was with James, we used to do that. You got to be creative. Be creative with moves, try stuff. And then when it comes to the group of guys that we got, we ain't going to talk about it too much. We just going to put our head down and do the work. That's the big thing is do the work. Like it's fine. The most important people to our team is the guys that's in the locker room and our coaching staff. And we got a ways to go, but we just want to build. We want to build, and we got to start from scratch.